Hey everybody, it's Alisa, and today you're here with Going Deeper. We go deeper because marriage was not meant to be lived at the surface. I'm so excited and just so thrilled to be sharing this particular brand with the two of you because we're going to be talking about how to rehab the art of conversation. We know, and you guys that have been part of the One Family for so long, we know that communication is a challenge for couples literally around the world. And my guests today are James Schlimmer and Ashley Chafee of Rehab Gaming USA. And let me just tell you a little bit about the two of them, because I want to ask you this question first. What do you do when you're having married friends over for dinner and you know that the two of them are not talking and are in the middle of a fight? My guess is you've been in this situation yourselves. But that was the situation that James had to endure 6 years ago when his best friend and his best friend's wife came over for dinner one night. The idea of having to sit through awkward conversation was taxing on him. So, in true MacGyver fashion, he came up with an idea. He took a regular deck of playing cards and wrote 52 questions out on a legal pad that corresponded with each card. Questions like, when was the last time you were proud of your partner? And what are 3 attributes that made you fall in love with him or her? As they played, the couple started to get closer. No surprise there, conversation. They were touching each other's hands, kissing each other on the cheek. The little game was so much of a success that the wife said after playing, "Man, I feel like we just went through rehab." Well, the idea of the game stayed with James for 6 years until he met his then girlfriend, now fiancée, Ashley, who at the time was in commercial interior design. He told her the idea of the game and she said, "Let's make it happen." Thus, the birth of Rehab Gaming USA and their first game, Rehab, a couple's release. Since then, they've created 2 more games, Rehab, a family's release, and Rehab After Dark. They hope these games encourage players to put down their smartphones, and I know so many of you may even actually be watching this. So right now, keep your smartphone, if that's where you're watching this Facebook Live, keep that up. But at the end, we're going to ask you to put it down. And talk face-to-face to rehab the art of conversation in such a digital age. James and Ashley, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having us. We always love going deeper with you guys, so thank you so much.
So happy to be here. Appreciate it.
Oh, I love it. And, the two of you have really, I love the story, James, of where this all came from, because I think we've all been in that set of circumstances with our friends where we're like, it's a little bit tense in here.
It was so funny too, because we knew they were having trouble. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, okay, well, do you want to postpone this dinner? And he's like, no, we're coming.
Yeah.
We're still going to be there. And I'm thinking, this is going to be terrible. This night is going to be a train wreck. And I got to figure out a way to try to just get some conversation going. So it started out with just simple, fun questions. And I was like, well, maybe I can get them to start opening up to each other. Mm-hmm. And after that evening, I was like really onto something here. This really, really worked. They're still married today. So that was 6 years ago. I'm not saying it was all because of the game, but it's probably 99% because of the game.
We're going to take credit.
Right?
I think you should take credit.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. Sometimes it's just that simple act of getting folks outside of what they normally do.
Yeah. Yeah, and the questions with a couple's release that I enjoy is that if you are out on a date or you do have a group of people over, because we'll get into After Dark in a little bit, but with a couple's release, it is a group game that you can play. And it makes it, sometimes conversation is stale anyways. Even if your good friends, come over and there is no drama or there is no marital issues, conversation can get stale. So that's where we come in, where we're rehabbing the art of conversation. And especially now with technology being such a hold on us, right, that, I don't want to be at a dinner party or out to eat like this, I want to talk. I want to get to know you better. I want to have those relationship building conversations. And so that's where we came in, and that's how Rehab Gaming USA got started.
Well, and I want to share with this. I don't think I shared with you guys previously, but so Tony and I were in Vegas a couple weekends ago, and we were there with friends. And so Sunday morning, we're all sitting around the table at breakfast, and we brought up the fact that we'd taken the cards to Vegas with us. And it was Sunday morning we're all getting ready to go and just having this leisurely breakfast. And Tony's like, well, do you have the cards with you? And so I brought out I don't know if you guys can see this.
Couples release.
And no joke, we started playing, and we actually probably took, Tony and I figured it out, it was probably like a 90-minute breakfast.
Wow.
Because which is crazy. I mean, first of all, who spends 90 minutes having breakfast? But it was the conversations and, people going, okay, you know what, let me actually think about that answer. And well, do you remember it the same way that I remember? And it was not just a way for the individual couples sitting around the table to get to know each other or to, kind of go down memory lane, but it was also a way for us to get to know each other better.
Sure.
Which I love that aspect of a couple's release, that seriously, you can be sitting in a restaurant, and granted we were in Vegas, so anything happens in Vegas, but we could have had that deck anywhere, and it would have been okay to be having the conversations that we were having.
Yeah. I mean, a couple's release is 100% clean. Depending on the group, I guess you could take it down
dirty road.
A dirty road, but depending on how comfortable you are with the group that you're with. But that one of the reasons I love couples release so much is because of that. It is, I get to know his friends and family better because we can play it with family. We can play it with my sister and brother-in-law, my mom and dad, all of that, and kind of hear the stories, that the reasons they fell in love and what challenges they've had in life and everything like that. And just kind of, again, it reconnects you.
The real beauty is the 52 questions. It's just a gateway. Mm-hmm. It's those secondary questions that come up from, hey, well, I didn't know you wanted to do this when you were younger, or, why did you look at me that one way? Were you were proud? And all of the secondary, that's what brings, a 90-minute brunch is the secondary stuff. And that's the beauty of the game. We're just kind of that igniter to get the conversation going. And then it's great to see where it can go from there.
Yes.
Now, you both have mentioned the challenges that you see in the digital age, right? And Ashley, you pulled out your phone. No joke, folks. Mine is right here. I mean, we all keep them close by. But what do you feel is missing most from people's conversations these days?
Genuineness. I mean, it's so easy to be somebody else behind a screen, right? It's so easy to put on the masks, right, that we have in life. And, with dating, with all of the dating sites that are out there, you don't know who you're getting. You want to portray the best of yourself too. Mm. So there's the lack of genuine, the lack of being comfortable to talk about things that, are important to you. That, I think, is the biggest issue, at least in my personal opinion.
I'd say the simplest answer, eye contact.
Yeah.
Whereas just, hey, the fact that we're just going to look face to face and have a genuine conversation. And I know that's kind of a cliche because we made this game, but hey, how was your day? Tell me about that. Oh, how is your mom feeling better? And just that face to face eye contact to know that, hey, I'm engaged with you for this conversation is something that it's almost a skill. You can use it in business as a skill, but it's something that we believe is evaporating from society. So we're trying to, this is one step that we're trying to do to, hey, put the technology away, turn the TV off, and let's eye contact and let's have a conversation. That's what we're trying to do.
That's so powerful. Just that idea of those two little words. And it actually isn't anything that somebody's saying, right? We're talking about rehabbing the art of conversation, and it comes from one of the most simplest gestures that a human being can make to another person is to actually make eye contact, which conveys interest, which conveys concern. And you're using these cards, which, I want you to describe just kind of what this looks like for folks, because they keep hearing us talk about, cards, but it's a deck of cards.
That's it.
That's all it is. You pop a deck of cards. There's 52 cards. You pop them face down on the table, right? And you'll have partner one would pick up a card, read the question, answer the question, and then their partner would answer the same question. That partner then can pick up ask another couple to answer the same question, and then that next couple would pick up a card, and the process would repeat. So it's just a deck of cards, whether you pop them on the dining room table, you bring them out to dinner, brunch, you can play the game anywhere.
I love that. It's like the grown-up version of Go Fish,
Yeah, that's it.
but with so much more meat to it.
Yeah.
Because we're really looking at how do we increase connection, right? Because conversation is going to lead to connection. And you guys actually decided that a couple's release and a family's release, those are at one level, but then you decided you wanted to kick it up a notch.
Yeah, that was my idea. I'm always pushing the envelope a little bit.
Every relationship has that person. So it's
yep. No, actually, we were getting feedback from couples who played a couples release and was like, we love couples release, but we want an after dark version. And so I was totally on board. I was like, yeah, let's do it. And James, on the other hand, was like, nope, no, our name Rehab is already racy enough. It's something that we have to keep within the lines. And I just came to him and I was like, well, what if I get somebody to help us create these cards and we use Rehab After Dark as a tool to build on the intimacy connection within couples? And so he's like, I love that approach. If it's helping strengthen the intimacy communication, I love that. So fast forward to when I get introduced to you guys, and we hit it off, and your mission and our mission are pretty much almost coincide perfectly together. And we loved that you guys were so able to expose, talk about anything, but in a very respectful manner, because sex can be, sex sells. And we didn't just want to use it as we call it a cheap pop, a cheap way of getting, people to buy our games. We wanted to actually create this tool that couples could use to help talk about a topic that can be very hard to talk about. Yeah, touchy.
It's easy to be crude. It's easy to be explicit. It's easy to be vulgar. As Ashley said, sex sells. It's hard to create a game that creatively touches on this subject of intimacy. So for me, it was a very delicate subject because I didn't want to put forth a game that would be crude, vulgar, and explicit. I wanted to say, okay, well, is there a way that we can attack this? The other part is that Ashley and I have no business instructing couples on their intimacy. I mean, that's not what we're good at. So it was, hey, if we can align ourselves with industry experts who are credible, who have a following, who have a proven track record. And the most important thing that I love about Tony was being able to connect with him is, can we have this conversation about intimacy where guys would not be turned off, where it's not therapy talk. We sat down with a handful of therapists that wanted to partner with us, and it was brutal conversations where I wanted to strangle myself because I would never play this game. I would run from the table. I'm sweating right now just thinking about it. And getting a chance to listen to One Extraordinary Marriage and your podcasts and your mission and how you can relate to everybody from all age groups in a real conversation, a fun way. That's the type of game that we wanted to create.
Yeah, and that's, I think, the questions that we did end up creating touch on all of that. They were able to, one, not shy away from the male perspective. So I feel like this game is actually my favorite. I love this game.
Just quick note. We're getting so much feedback on the kiss and tell questions. They love just the idea of, hey, how do you want to be kissed when you come home from work on a stressful day? That question is just, people are going bananas over it because, okay, yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah.
How do you, or do you not want to be kissed on a stressful day? You don't know unless you ask the question. So.
Well, and I think that's the thing that the game really gets to. And folks, as you're listening to this, we're going to tell you how to get your hands on these games. We're going to put the link in the notes. But here's the thing. There are a couple of things that James touched on. One is Tony was very involved in the development of these questions. So for all of you who are like, is this just going to be like one of those girly, touchy-feely relationship type games? The answer is no. Like, let me assure you, there's a whole mix of questions here that will allow you to dig deeper into your relationship. And these are the types of questions that there's a reason it's called After Dark. This is not the version of the game that you're going to be playing with your kids. Do a family release. If you want to play with the kids, do a family release.
Yes.
If you want to play with groups of your friends, do a couples release. If you just want something for the two of you, after dark is where you go, because part of the reason that I wanted to share James and Ashley with all of you was because they're, like Ashley said, their mission and their passion is so in alignment with who we are at One Extraordinary Marriage. This wasn't just like, hey, somebody pitches a good idea. Let me tell you, we get pitched a lot of good ideas. And it's making a decision on going, what's going to be best for the one family. And that's where these cards, honestly, guys, we keep a deck. I usually have a deck in my purse. And then we started keeping a deck. I was sharing this with James and Ashley before we hopped on. We keep a deck in our glove box. And you can actually keep After Dark in your glove box because your kids aren't going in there. Like, they're not. So if you want to make sure you always have it for date night, or some of the other things that I've heard people use, and I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but people are keeping cards in their wallets. Right?
They're that size, yeah.
Sure.
You're already carrying dollar bills and credit cards. You might as well put something that's really good for your relationship inside your wallet too. And you can pull them out. Take 2 or 3 on a date night. Right? It's just you, and it's just the two of you sitting in a romantic restaurant. Hold on to them and just be like, hey, I want to ask you a question. I know you guys mentioned the kiss and tell. We do actually, the deck has a couple of social cards. So you got to get a little active in this. Go ahead.
They're white. They have a white background instead of the black background. And I think this one is my favorite. It's play your favorite slow song and dance the entire song with your partner.
That's actually one of my favorites too.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe because Tony just had a song written for me.
Aww.
So I'm like, okay, let's dance to that song because that's my favorite. But you did it on your wedding.
Yeah.
You did it at your wedding. You did it when you were dating. But when was the last time that the two of you turned on that song? And, thank goodness that we do have the technology so you can, cue up the song on your phone, and then you can put your phone face down somewhere else and just listen.
Yeah.
And just be in the moment with the two of you. We're so busy. And those of you that have heard Tony and I talk about this, busyness is not a badge of honor.
No.
Connection is.
Sure.
Right? The more connect. And here's a tool. Guys, here's a tool that's going to change how the two of you actually connect with one another. It's going to change the conversations that you're having. It's going to change that eye contact that James was saying, what's the most important thing that you can be doing or what's missing? Well, what if you pulled out a card and maybe you have to discuss what that slow song is?
Yeah.
Right?
And there's no pressure either. There's no pressure of asking the questions because they're already written for you. Mm-hmm. So if you're concerned about, maybe you and your spouse or your partner are having some issues and you don't know how to broach the topic, or you don't know what question to ask, you don't have to think about it. It's already done for you. Mm-hmm. So it helps.
I love that. And I love that because the questions are written. Here's the thing. You guys might get to a question that makes you feel a little uncomfortable. Like it's there. Everybody's got a different comfort level. Here's the thing. One, you can always put it back on us. Oh, that's an interesting question. Where'd they come up with this? Right? Like, go ahead. It's okay. The other thing too is you can step out of your comfort zone and say, well, if these guys are asking the question, what if we stepped into answering this?
Yeah.
What breakthrough could be on the other side of actually saying, you know what is that slow song? Or like James said, how do you want to be kissed when you're coming home from a stressful day? Because a lot of couples get into the whole just like peck thing, right? It's not a real kiss. It's not a real kiss.
Well, I tell you what, make no mistake about it. We intentionally, in all 3 games, there are fun questions, and it's supposed to be a great time. And majority of the game is fun, but we did throw in some questions there that are gonna pull you. Yeah. And it's designed because you can't really appreciate the highs unless you get a little bit of the lows. Mm-hmm. You need to work and put the effort into understanding all the details of your relationship. I love the dance, slow dance with your partner, because it's very easy for a guy to be like, that's foo-foo. Who's going to want to do that? And then if you really think about it and be like, okay, are you really not interested in slow dancing with your wife or your partner? One song. And then for a cheap plug to buy the game for Valentine's Day, could you imagine the story that your wife is going to tell the next day when you say, oh, we played this great game. We ended up slow dancing at candlelight and he looked me in the eye and we haven't done that in 10 years or 15 years. That's the stories that Ashley and I are hearing about, the connection that couples are having where, on one hand, it was, hey, last week we drove on a 4-hour car ride and didn't say a word to each other, to this week we had wine, we played the game, and we actually made out. And it's, oh my goodness, how does that happen from just conversation? But it's rekindling those old feelings. And who else would you rather dance with than, your gal? So it works.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Ashley.
No, I was gonna say that you have the opportunity to present a feeling. Like this is creating a feeling. It's not just creating a game. It's creating emotions.
Yeah.
And especially when you're playing with somebody that you genuinely love and you want this, you want those feelings to continue.
Right.
This allows you to have that platform.
I love that. And I love that, while it's a game, and so we have that focus on the recreational intimacy, at its heart, all of the rehab decks are about the emotional intimacy. Mm-hmm. They're about really getting to know. And I just think of, that transformation that happens for couples that goes from, not having a single word to say for 4 hours to, making out, eye contact, all the warm fuzzies start flooding back, and to see that transformation happen, and to realize, folks, you're watching this, and no joke, Valentine's Day is coming. Like, let's not, in case you don't know, I'm actually going to let you in on a little secret. It's a few weeks away. And why not be preparing now so that you don't get to February 13th or maybe even part of the way on February 14th and are like, oh, I had no idea it's coming. It's February 14th. Shocker. So we still are going to continue the conversation, but I want you guys to tell people where to find these because people want to know.
So if you go to www.oneextraordinarymarriage.com/afterdark, you'll be able to purchase the games and also bring you to our other games as well. So you'll be able to purchase After Dark and our other games as well. And our games are only $11.95. So not including shipping, but that's pretty inexpensive for a game that is going to generate these feelings. Mm-hmm. And I think our biggest, this is what we always say, our biggest criticism is there's no winner to the game, because there is no winner. And I always say, and it's always men who are like, there's no winner to this game. And I look at them and I say, if you play this game with your spouse or your partner, I promise you there is going to be a winner. Both of you are going to win at the end. Hint, hint.
Hint. Because like James, in that scenario that you described of that couple who go from slow dancing to making out, there is a wife who feels cherished, who feels seen by her husband. And there is a man who's like, that's probably the closest we've been in the last 2 months.
Yeah.
Sure.
That was awesome. So that's a double win in my book. And it really becomes, the other thing I was thinking about, Ashley, when you were talking about, the decks, is that flowers are going to die.
Yeah.
Chocolates are going to get eaten. The wine will be drunk. The cards, you're still going to have the cards after Valentine's Day, and you're going to get to use them over and over again. So don't wait, you guys. Don't put this off. Don't say, oh, you know what? I'll wait till closer to Valentine's. It is closer to Valentine's Day.
It's now.
It's now. Because here's the thing. You can still do the flowers and chocolates and wine, because she may be expecting it or he may be expecting it. But what if inside the bouquet sorry, I've got both decks here. There was your own After Dark deck, right? What if it was there and you're like, hey, I've lit the fire. You, me, and you pull out 3 cards.
Don't play the whole deck at once. Play a couple of cards and see where it gets you. You
can even at dinner, just pop cards, slide them across the table, and your wife will be like, geez, what is all this? And be like, pick one, answer the question. You will blow her mind.
Yeah.
The fact that you want to know the answers to these questions and that you're willing to forgive that information, because I'm sure she'd like to know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a game. Literally, it's a game changer for what we're trying to do here at One Extraordinary Marriage. And when we talk about rehabbing the art of conversation, it isn't just equipping you with, hey, make eye contact, go for a walk and talk, set the timer for 15 minutes. It's how can you bring joy and fun into this? How can you not just focus on emotional intimacy, but with After Dark, you actually, kind of add on to that the physical and the sexual intimacy. So you're getting I mean, we talk about win-win for the couple. You're also getting win-win for yourself.
On top of the planning for the rest of the year, it's still early. I mean, there's questions in there about what do you want to do on a vacation? Mm-hmm. Great questions about what you want to do on a vacation that if it was me, I'm going to be sitting there at work the Monday after Valentine's Day, just dying for that vacation so we can take part in those activities. Would be a great time.
Yes, because let's face it, guys, we all have expectations for vacation. And so using After Dark as a way to ask and answer those questions, it's going to make vacation time much, much better. And it's going to be another tool in your toolbox.
Yeah.
And I think at the end of the day, that's what it really comes down to. It's how do you look at what James and Ashley did, going all the way back to that dinner party 6 years ago, and you come on board and you say, you know what, these guys have already solved it. Like, I don't need to come up with my own 52 questions, right? I mean, you could, but why? Why? James did it for you. James and Ashley did it for you with the first. I mean, here's the thing, guys, play smarter.
Not harder.
Yep.
Work smarter in your marriages. Take advantage of the resources that are out there. Plus, if you do it, here's the thing. It's going to look like it did when James did the first deck, right? It's going to be a yellow legal pad, and it's going to be a deck of cards, and you're going to have to number, and it's going to be all like, it'll be nice. You'll do it, but it's very DIY.
Yep. All the work is done for $11.95.
That's it.
And I promise you, it's been a lot of work.
It has been, but you guys have such a passion, and that's really why I wanted to share who you are and what you've done with the One Extraordinary Marriage family, because it's equipping the one family with those resources that say, you know, these are in alignment with what we talk about, emotional intimacy, physical intimacy. It's in alignment with, you know, another couple that has a passion for marriages, for seeing relationships not just survive but thrive.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, you know the couples that are just surviving. They're the couples that, like Ashley said, when you go out to dinner, this is all you see of them across the table.
And look, we're guilty of that too. It's all of us are guilty of it. What we want to encourage people, and especially the people who play our games, is that don't prioritize anything. As soon as we prioritize anything above our relationships, that's when there's an issue. And, you know, we prioritize answering that email over finishing a conversation with your spouse, or answering that text over finishing that conversation with your spouse. Or, you know, and we're guilty of it too. If we're having a conversation and there's a text that comes up, the conversation stops, and then you have to repeat the question. And then that's where we're all guilty of it. And it affects our relationships because, again, you're not doing the eye-to-eye contact. You're not saying, hey, I'm engaged in this conversation. I might not find this conversation interesting or relevant to me, but I know it's important to you. So I love you, and I'm going to engage myself in this conversation. And
she's definitely talking about the things that I bring up there. Just so you know, that's
a little bit. Just a little.
She's so tired of hearing about my work stuff.
A little. I love you dearly, though.
I know.
You just need to bring out the occasional card. I'm just thinking.
That's it.
I'll talk about work, and then I'll bring a card.
But that's the prioritizing over. I mean, like if it's not technology, it's unfortunately sometimes our kids get prioritized. They have to. You know, there's times where our kids have to be number one. But then there's times where that's all the relationship is about, is the kids. And you hear it time and time again, we're only together because of the kids. Right. Or, you know, and it's unfair for everybody involved. It's unfair for your kids. You want to be the patriarch of your family. You want to be the example of who they fall in love with. So make sure your relationship is strong.
Let me ask you this, Elisa. How often do you see, and this is why we wanted to partner with you and Tony, because you guys are the experts, but how often do you find couples that they lose the ability, but they forget, well, how do I even make that step forward? How do I get the conversation started? What do I do? Like we're so, spouse one and spouse two are so far removed that they don't even know how to take the first step.
Every day. I mean, honestly, we get emails all day long where there's disconnect. We get emails where, people are saying, I don't even know how to start the conversation. We get emails of, I don't even know like, what words would I use? How would I bring this up? And so again, it is why when you guys first came to us, and I'm thinking, a deck of cards? Huh. All of my coaching clients know about these games because I keep the cards on my desk, I keep one deck on my desk. The other deck, like I said, sits in the glove box. And I'll bring it up in the middle of a coaching call. I'll be like, hey, let's try and just pull out a card. Right. And I don't actually use the cards individually, but I encourage couples to pick this up as a coaching tool, as a strategy for their marriage, because like you said, whether it's technology or kids or jobs or just any of the 101 things that interrupt conversation, if you can use a tool that exists to re-spark that connection, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you? Your marriage, your relationship deserves your attention. It deserves, Ashley, the way you said that about prioritizing the conversation. If you take nothing else out of this conversation, take Ashley's passion for you to prioritize the conversation and the way that she worded that. Just take it to heart and say, okay, what can I do? I mean, that's the one family hashtag this year is what can I do? Well, let me give you a few things. What can I do? One, you can go to oneextraordinarymarriage.com/afterdark and you can order 1, 2, or all 3 decks, right? You pick. The second thing you can do is you can actually gift these to your spouse. Right? Don't just keep them in a drawer for someday. Make someday today. Mm-hmm. Right? And then you can be fully present when you play the game. Be willing to ask and answer questions. Be willing to, like James said, start stepping out. Get reconnected. Right? Because these guys did not put their heart and soul into creating Rehab Gaming just so that, there would be all these decks of cards.
I'm getting so much from this, and I know that I asked the question about, hey, how many couples do you find that are kind of lost trying to get that first foot forward? And I wish that I could say that we were smart enough to make a game with the intention of trying to give a couple that first help them. We didn't. What we try to do is just make it fun for folks. But as I'm sitting here now in this, I'm thinking like, all right, I mean, it makes so much sense that you've been married for 13 years, and I'm thinking about that couple that spent 4 hours in the car and what that must have been like at the 45-minute mark of just thumb twiddling. But you don't know what to say. Mm-hmm. And, Ashley and I are relatively new, 2 years in our relationship, getting married in March. I can't even fathom the idea of like, we have nothing to talk about. Yeah. But I guess that's why I'm so happy that we're with you, because you guys are the experts. You are seeing this every single day. And I love the fact that our game is going to be hopefully that tool that could try to help them get to that first step, which as soon as you get through that first door, it's all downhill. It's easy, right? Have a couple glasses of wine. Maybe you do the slow dance. There's 3 other social cards in there that are very entertaining and fun.
7 minutes in heaven.
Hey.
It's a great time.
Hey. Just saying. It's much better. Like, let's just be honest. It's much better as married adults than it ever was in that awkward high school. Like, just allow yourself to go there. Right.
And keep going. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, so often, people look at those types of things. And I'm like, oh, just do it, folks. Take a little Nike action here. Just do it, and do it for both of you.
Yeah.
Right? This isn't a one-sided thing. You're not doing this to get, you're doing this to give. Give your marriage a shot, right? A shot in the arm. Give your marriage that, James, you said earlier, the fire, right? That spark.
See, I'm on the guy side of this equation is, hey, get the game, right? Initiate this. So whether for Valentine's Day, you plan the dinner, whatever the restaurant is, and when you get there, just when your wife sits down, she comes back from the restroom and those cards are face down, and her face when she's like, what is this? Yeah. And dive right in, read a question, answer it, and watch what happens. Make sure you comment us or let us know, because it's going to be we've done the focus groups. So we've seen hundreds of couples play this just on a whim, and everybody melts. Everybody gets together. Everybody nestles in kisses. It's just, that's the joy of communication. And it's something that is so simple, but yet really, really hard, right? do it. I'm talking to the guys out there. This is you time to step up this Valentine's Day. You can still do the candy, the chocolate. You can still buy it in the morning of, well, you can't buy the game the morning of Valentine's Day, but I've been guilty of that going the day of, right? But get this to complement the standard gifts, and you will thank us.
Absolutely. And James, thank you for speaking to the men, because Tony couldn't join us today. And it's so important, guys. She wants to know what's on your heart. She wants to know what you're thinking. She wants to know what you're feeling. She wants to know the memories that you have of the relationship. And she wants to have you engaged with her.
Yeah.
Use the questions as a jumping off point. You don't even have to think, like we said, you don't even have to think of the questions. So James and Ashley, thank you for reaching out all those months ago. It has definitely been a partnership that has blessed us tremendously, and in turn is blessing the One family. Again, folks, Valentine's Day is coming. Really clear. It's coming. Don't wait to order your cards. Do it now. Go to oneextraordinarymarriage.com/afterdark. It's going to take you to where you can buy the cards, where you can learn more about James and Ashley, because these two, you're going to want to know them. Follow them across the social media platforms. They're tearing it up, and we're so thrilled to do life with you guys.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. We appreciate working with you guys. We love it.
Yeah, we love it.
Awesome. Well, to all of you, thank you for being part of the One family. Thank you for going deeper this week in your marriage. Go deeper with Rehab After Dark. Go deeper with Rehab, a couples release, and really take your marriage to the next level. Because like I said at the beginning, marriage is not meant to be lived on the surface. Love you guys.
Bye.